Oh, well. Good evening. A very late good evening, West Ham fans. Let's talk about who we're going to be drawn against in the next stages of the Europa League. Yes, everybody, Russ and the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well, my friends. So, obviously, the group stages of the Europa League have now finished. They have finished. And it is now confirmed in terms of the players, the sides we're going to be drawn against in the next round, in the last 16 of the Europa League. So, what I thought to do today is quickly just go through it all. You just go through it all. Remind yourselves of the Europa League. It's a distraction. Let's enjoy it while we can in terms of the Europa League. So let's quickly get into it and just give you a little bit more of a, just to remind you of the Europa League itself. So in terms of, not that one, we want this one, not that one, we want to know this one. Okay, let's go full screen. So following the group stages of Europa, so this is where we're up to at the end of the Europa League. The group winners went directly into the last 16 of the Europa League, with the group runners-up going into the playoffs against a third-place Champions League group stage team, and the third place in our group went into the conference, did the thing at the conference as well. So in terms of that's how the group standings finished. And so the idea being is we had everyone in the group winners. Freiburg, group went into the runners-up. Third place, so Olympiacos went into the playoffs for the conference, and then obviously TS. Do you remember TS? Do you remember Bacca Topola? Who remembers Bacca Topola? Yes, Bacca Topola. They went home. In terms of, these were the eights, in case you weren't paying attention, these were the 8 ties for the playoffs. Freiburg, Lens, Marseille, Shakhtar, Sparta, Galatasaray, Sporting, Young Boys, Toulouse, Benfica, Rennes versus AC Milan, Roma versus Feyenoord, and Karabakh versus Braga. A lot of B's, R's, A's, and G's in that one, that's for sure. And that's how it finished. So Freiburg progressed, our Europa League group buddies, they progressed. So did Marseille. Sparta Prague, yes, that is Danny Krasinski's side. They progressed. Sporting, Benfica, AC Milan, Roma, who won on penalties against Feyenoord just now, and Karabakh. So some really big sides there. And then Freiburg and Karabakh. So we're bound to get drawn against them. Just so you guys know, again, just so I'm sure you're more aware, we're used to this now in terms of winning the groups, but we can't be drawn against the other group winners in this round. So each one of these the group winners will be drawn against one of the playoff finalists. So we can't be drawn against Leverkusen, for example. So that's just for this round. After this round, it's open. And also we get home advantage. We can talk about that in a minute again. So that's the playoff winners and the Europa League group. So we'll be drawn against one of AC Milan, Benfica, Freiburg, Marseille, Karabakh, Roma, Sparta Prague, and Sporting Lisbon. It's also worth noting that some sides can't be drawn against each other. You can't be drawn against the same federation for this round. For example, Atalanta, if we go back to that, where is the slide that we go back to? For example, Atalanta can't be drawn against AC Milan or Roma. So there's a greater chance we could be drawn against an Italian side. Similarly, Slavia Prague can't be drawn against Sparta Prague. And also Leverkusen can't be drawn against Freiburg. So, there's not that many options, so it does bring the fielder down a little bit rather than 1 in 8. Also, you see that there's 2 Portuguese sides as well. So, there's what's that? 2 out of 8. That's a 25% chance you could be going to Portugal, everybody, which would be very nice, wouldn't it? As I said, we do have the home advantage as well because we won the group. So it always pays to win your group. So in terms of home advantage, so the ties we played on the 7th, the away leg, with the home leg being played on the 14th. So that shows how that works. So we're 2 weeks away from the away leg, so people have got to get booking their flights pretty sharpish. I'm going to go through the comments in a minute. I just want to get through everything. And don't forget, the final is going to be played in the Aviva Stadium in Dublin in the end of the season. The winner automatically qualifies for the 24-25 Champions League group stages, known as the right to play the winners of this year's Champions League in the 2024 UEFA Cup. So we're going to go through the sides. We're going to go from individually quickly, just zoom through them, and then we're done. Epic, Mark, hope you're well. Budgie, hope you're well. So we want a night out. Good question. In the chat, let me know. Do you want a big night out to go out in a bang? Do you want an AC Milan? Or would you want someone like maybe a Karabakh? Karabakh did really well, actually, to get through there. They beat Braga. Bring on AC Milan. Can't even beat a champions. Oh, Epic. Just park that for a minute. Just enjoy the ride for this one. Italy, please. Come here. Freiburg again, please. Why are we seeded to play a winner of last round? I thought we had a crisis. Indeed. Crisis, what crisis? The way we're playing at the moment, we had better avoid all of those left in order to get into the next round. All of them? Just do we get a buy? That'd be nice. Right, let's go through some of the sides and give you a bit more information. I'm sure you know about most of these sides anyway, but just to give you a bit more. AC Milan, obviously 19 Serie A titles. Apart from 2 seasons, they spent the entire of their history in the top flight of Serie A. They play at the San Siro. Can you imagine about 10,000 West Ham fans at the San Siro? That would be a hell of a day, a hell of a night. And you get some good pasta, good pizza, limoncello. Oh, all over that. Would love that. That'd be amazing. I never thought in my lifetime I'd see West Ham at the San Siro, and that might happen. It might happen. There's a 1 in 8 chance of that happening. So that would be amazing. And you're right, it could spark life into this side, particularly that I know, something. If it was a big glamour tie, it could kickstart people. You never know. But also, it might mean that we could rest players, and I don't know. Anyway, let's not worry about that just yet. In terms of they're currently 3rd in Serie A, and it's some great players. I mean, I could have picked another 3. The dates will be the 7th and the 14th. The away leg the 7th, and the home tie the 14th. My friend, Christian Pulisic, former Chelsea, Borussia Dortmund, American international, Noah Okafor, and the Portuguese striker Rafael Leao. Who else? Benfica, Roger Schmidt, the manager we've been looking at. I mean, I think he's a great manager, actually. Possibly the most, probably them and Porto, maybe Benfica, the most successful side, maybe. It's them or Porto in terms of domestically. 38 Premier Ligas, 26 Taça de Portugal, 2 European Cups as well, one of the big 3 clubs, obviously Porto and Sporting Lisbon, to have never been relegated from the Premier Liga. Play at the Estadio de Luís, just under 60,000, 65,000 capacity, beautiful stadium. Not so beautiful from the outside, I think, in all honesty. They're top of the Premier Liga, and again, they've got a host of players. I could have picked another dozen really in terms of their squad players. Angel Di Maria still knocking about, Neres, the winger, and Marcos Leonardo, who we were linked with, the former Santos striker, if you remember last season. That was the one that Tim went to Brazil and didn't bring him back. He's banging him in for Benfica now, typically. Who else we got? Let's go to the next one. Who is next on the list? Russie B. Next, we've got Freiburg. We know about Freiburg. We'll zoom through these. We beat them home and away. Obviously, Leverkusen can't be drawn against them, so that increases the chances maybe of us being drawn against them potentially. Again, they play at the Europa Park, as we know, just under 35,000. Great atmosphere. They had a really good atmosphere, particularly obviously the home leg. We beat them home and away, obviously, in the group stages, and currently 8th in the Bundesliga. But we can zoom past that because we know about Freiburg already, and we've had a few on the channel, a few lovely Freiburg fans on the channel. So you never know. Marseille, another big side, European pedigree side. 9 Liga titles. They've won the European Cup and also the Intertoto Cup, fine cup. Best sides have won the Intertoto Cup, that's for sure. And they've just sacked their manager. The former Italian midfielder, Gennaro Gattuso, and they replaced him almost immediately with Jean-Louis Gasquet. And obviously they won tonight in over the second legs. They play at the Stade Velodrome, beautiful stadium. I think they had the rugby there, didn't the? I think the rugby played the other day there, and it was beautiful. Big fan of that stadium, and beautiful time of the year as well. They beat Shakhtar Donetsk 5-3 in aggregate in their leg for their playoffs. So obviously a very good side, but not having a great league this year. Same position as us, really, ninth. And they sacked their manager. Hashtag just saying. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, obviously former Arsenal, Chelsea. Who else? Dortmund, Barcelona striker, Corella, the winger, and Ishmael Sarr, a guy that we were linked with, weren't we, right at the end of the transfer window. Karabakh, this is the one I know we're gonna be drawn against Karabakh. I know we are. They got past Sporting Braga. They lost 3-2 on the night, but 6-5 on aggregate. So they beat Braga in Braga. So that's no mean feat, really. Possibly, I'd say, the most successful Azerbaijan side, if that is one, if that is an accolade to have. We've got they won 10 league titles in Azerbaijan, 7 cups, and their Azerbaijan Super Cup. They play sorry, Anthony, but Karabakh Stadium's a pony. It's less than 6,000. We're going to be drawn against them now just because of it. 6,000 seater stadium. But I imagine they might even move it to, where did they play tonight? I'm just trying to see where they play tonight. Doesn't say. I wonder whether they might have played at the National Stadium. I don't know, to be honest. But they're currently top in the Premier League in Azerbaijan. For some reason, Junior was pictured on a green background and a green screen, where everyone else was on a grey screen. Andrade and Benzia. Not Benzema, Benzia. Roma, another Italian side. Obviously, 2 Italian sides, 2 Portuguese sides. There's big possibility of us, 50% chance of us, sort of picking one of them. In all honesty, an Italian or Portuguese side. Obviously, again, big pedigree in Italy. They won the Anglo-Italian Cup. For anyone of a certain vintage, you remember West Ham playing in the Anglo-Italian Cup against such juggernauts as Southend United in the old League 2, in the old Division 2. Some people remember the Anglo-Italian Cup, and probably people remember even older the Intercities Fairs Cup, and they've been in the top flight of Italian football throughout their entire history. They play at the Stadio Olimpico. Could you imagine? You got 60, you have 10,000 at San Siro. You have 10,000 at the Stadio Olimpico. Could you imagine the scenes, seeing all those West Ham shirts at the Colosseum? Could you imagine? Obviously, they've recently just sacked Jose Mourinho and replaced him. Former another guy that West Ham are linked with, Paulo Fonseca, was manager at Roma as well. But could you imagine the San Siro or the Stadio Olimpico? There's a 25% chance we could hit either of them, in all honesty. Currently 6th in Serie A. You got Tammy Abrahams, although he's out with an ACL from the rest of the season. Pablo Dybala, obviously the Argentinian, is still knocking about. Romelu Lukaku still knocking about. They beat Arne Slot's Feyenoord 4-2 on penalties. It was 2-2 in aggregate after extra time. Paredes, Pellegrini, El Shawari, Chris Smalling, Renato Sanchez, Uwari, who's someone on our chat would always say we should sign Uwari. They've got some fantastic players, that's for sure. Sparta Prague, Danny Kudzinski's side, 37 league titles in the Czech Republic, or in former Czechoslovakia. Most successful club in Czech Republic, and one of the most successful in Central Europe, and obviously 40% owned by Danny Kudzinski. They play at the Airpet Arena, 19,000 capacity, and they're currently first in their division. And obviously they finished second in their Europa League group. Obviously they cannot be drawn against Slavia Prague this round. Slavia won their group. That doesn't happen. They beat Galatasaray 4-1 at the Apet Arena, which is no mean feat. 6-4 they beat on aggregate, so they're no slouches, that's for sure. Indeed, the Antaglo, Florentine. I think it was Tim. We had Tim Breaker on talking about the Anglo-Italian Cup because it was absolutely. And I can't remember. Is it Correcchio or something they played against them? Didn't have a fucking clue what they were doing. Absolutely brilliant. And lastly, Sporting Lisbon. Ruben Amorim, Sporting Lisbon. One of the big three in Portugal to have never been relegated, along with their rivals Benfica and Porto. 19 Premier Ligas, 17 Taça de Portugal, 4 Taça de Liga, 9 Super Tacas, 4 Campeonato del Poder, and they've won the Cup Winners' Cup as well. Pardon me. They beat Young Boys 4-2. They beat Young Boys 4-2. Makes me laugh, that name. They play at the Estadio Jose Alvalade. Just over 50,000. Oh, Portugal will be lovely this time of year, surely. Currently second in the Premier Liga. They finished second in their group in the Europa League group stages as well. Some big names to watch out for. Victor Correges, the Swedish former Coventry City striker, the guy that we were linked with, absolutely banging him in for Sporting Lisbon. Marcus Edwards, the English winger, again we were linked with, former Tottenham winger, and Gonçalves. They've got some phenomenal players. A very good side. Inacio, the defender, we were linked with as well. I could have picked about another half dozen, to be honest. Absolutely amazing. And that is it, my friends. That is the list of sides. So, as I said, this was only going to be a little show just to jump on, just to get you guys the opportunity. Thank you very, very much, Paul. Right. Okay. Anyone who's watching, don't forget to give it a comment, a share, a like, but also in the chat, let me know now who you want. We'll keep it. We'll go for another 3 or 4 minutes, and then I've got to go to bed because I've got to get ready because we've got the draw tomorrow. The draw is going to be at 11 o'clock UK time. It's 12 o'clock in Switzerland. We'll be covering it. Holly will be on, Anton will be on, I'll pop on at lunchtime because I'll be working, unlike them two, on a Friday. Lucky buggers. Although Holly does have a baby at the moment. We all know anyone who's had a baby, how frustrating that can be at times. And Anton will have Jerry as well. But I want to know who you're going to carry back for Paggy Boy, AC Milan. Are we going big or are we going? I mean, to be honest, there's no mugs in that as a 8 at all. Let me bring. Have I got it here again? Let's have a look. Let's delete that one. Where is it? Let me bring it up again just in case anyone. Let's bring that up and put it in the little chat there. So that's who we can be drawn against. Milan are my favourite European teams since 1990, so why not? If we need to win it, we have to face big teams. We do. But there's always there's two ways of thinking of it: go big or go home. Or do you think you can get a player like if we get drawn against Freiburg again? Really, we should be relatively, one of the favourites to get through to the quarterfinals. If we get AC Milan, the chances are probably not going to get to the quarterfinals. Sporting isn't, probably not. Benfica, they'll probably do us. Half that side will probably do us over. Half of us, we've probably got half a chance. But you never know. I mean, don't forget the fun of Sevilla, wasn't it? Sevilla and Lyon. So who knows? What we got here? San Siro on a cold. Can they do it on a cold Thursday night in Italy? That's the question we want to ask these players. Carry back for misses sometimes. I carry a bag for very good for my misses sometimes when we go shop. That's going to be the meme, wouldn't it? It looks like a BFG. He does indeed. AC Milan, Karabakh, AC Milan. Just watched the Roma game. It was a great game. Some of them they do, but guaranteed will end up being one of the ones which be actually stuffed. Maybe the one as fans were banned from the away. Great shout, actually. That's a really good point. Obviously, we were banned for that the away leg, weren't we? So Maybe time to get back to Germany. Maybe they'll do. I'll take the team on worst form. Well, that's us. We'll take up and play ourselves. I hope we avoid Karabakh at their stadium holds 58, determined to be the away leg. There'll be no chance for a ticket for that match. No, they won't be, mate. You're totally right. If that's the case, it's one of the Italian clubs, isn't it? They're the biggest stadiums. Relatively cheap to get to as well. Lots of different ways you can get there. You can fly, you could train it, you could probably drive it in a couple of days if you really wanted to. You could ferry it. You know, there's ferry it, then drive down. There's loads of things you could drive. You could fly into a country which isn't near it and drive across the border potentially. Again, things like that are cheaper. You know, Ryanair will do it. You know, if you had, like, I'm sure Stansted to Rome or Stansted to Milan would be fucking expensive, but Stansted to somewhere, then drive across or whatever. There's loads of options, very well connected. So it tends to mean things can hopefully be a bit cheaper for people traveling, whereas the likes of Karabakh, maybe not so much. But yeah, it was only going to be a quick one today. Please keep an eye on the channel. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure also you follow us tomorrow. We'll be doing the show tomorrow where we'll be basically going through everything, going through all the sides and talking about everything really, and putting together obviously the draw itself. As I said, it's going to take about, I think it's 12. I think it starts at 12 o'clock UK time. So yeah, should be good. I'm looking forward to it. As I said, it's a bit of a break. We'll also then have the David Moyes press conference if you really want to hear from him. That'll be later on tomorrow as well. Should even have Irish Tommy as well. Then afterwards, we'll be doing, so whoever gets withdrawn, I'll do a bigger piece about that, going into a lot more detail on the history of the side we're being drawn against, just so you guys know. Jess rocked up. Which one of the sides do you think West Ham can beat? Look, at the end of the day, European football is different, isn't it? We can, and we have beaten sides better than us on paper in Europe. Not necessarily last year, because last year was a bit different. We were favourites, but the previous year, Sevilla had won, was it back-to-backs 2 or 3 times in terms of the Europa League. Obviously, they dropped down in Europe and stuff. I don't know who I want. I mean, Milan will be amazing. I mean, I never thought I'd see West Ham play at the San Siro in my life, or even the Stadio Olimpico in terms of Roma. I would like to avoid the Portuguese sides just for this round. Sparta Prague, going back to Prague, maybe might be quite fun. Cheap night out for people as well. Relive that night in Prague. Marseille, lovely trip down south. France, beautiful. Get some nice wine and cheese. I would like to avoid playing Freiburg again, if I'm honest. I want to go. Do you know what? We need something. We need something for West Ham fans, don't we? I want to be glamour. I want Milan or Roma. That's who I want. Yeah, that's who I want. We'll get Karabakh. I know we will, because that's just us. But I want Milan. I want. The fans could deserve something like that. Do you know what I mean? I think that would be a really good showing for us. So yeah, that'll do me. That'll do me, Budden. That'll do me. That sounds good. All right then, peeps. Well, take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. Keep the faith. And come on, you bloody irons. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Much love. Peace out. Motherfucker.